I have to say a few words. Today I was supposed to be with you in this hall, sharing my knowledge and my thoughts. But on October 7th, a tragedy occurred in my country was attacked. They attacked homes, families, and my friends. They attacked brutally. Terrorists killed innocent civilians, adults, women, elderly, and even children. So currently, since then, my country has been in a state of war. And therefore, I do not find it possible to leave my home during these challenging times. And that's why I'm online. And I really want to thank the organizers of Porta Tech Hub for their understanding and for providing this opportunity to speak online. So I'll share my screen. Screen one. Share.
It's working. Thank you.
Great. So today we're going to talk about the passwords or passwordless authentication. But before we will start, I need to go into some website. Dandohidi1 password wrong credential. Sorry, let's try it again. Dandohidi1 1 2 3 4 5 6 wrong credentials. And one more time. And I hate passwords. I don't know how about you, but I really hate passwords. Okay, it's nightmare for me. So let's talk about the passwordless authentication. How we can avoid passwords? Is passwords so good? Like probably many one thinks. But let's start about me. I'm a developer with more than 20 years of experience. I'm a full cycle evangelist. The full cycle, it's about not only about the development, but also about the delivery, test, monitor the application. Basically, I believe that if you want to be an engineer, you have to be aware of all aspects of the product you're working on, technical aspects especially, of course. You shouldn't be expert in all these aspects, but to understand what's going on, to understand the delivery process, to understand the monitoring, to be able to see the bugs on the fly, on the production, and to fix it, etc. This is to be a real engineer. So this is my believing. I'm a public speaker, as you can see, and I'm also a public writer: English, Hebrew, Ukrainian, and Russian. You can find me basically on Medium.com as Dandohidi1. I'm an open source contributor, I'm a volunteer, and I'm a meetup NG Heroes runner. And this is the pictures of my hobbies and my family, my wife, kids, and dog. Okay, let's go. Let's start with the history. Okay, I believe everyone knows the password for this cave, right? And this is the password. Okay, it started like really thousands of years ago. It's a simple way to protect whatever people want to protect. I'm not sure if this cave is real or not. Probably not, but I hope everyone knows the password. So the password creation, like the first, let's say, documented use of password was the Roman watchword. The password that proved you are a member of this military unit. And this, you can call it as a very early authentication system, okay? And a really fast way to tell for someone if you're a friend or your enemy. The prohibition password. In 1920s, okay, prohibition led to the rise of speakeasy bars. Okay, it's bars where to get in, you had to present some card or some phrase or some code or some password or ticket or whatever to be able to get in and drink a little bit of alcohol. That's part of US history, right? And first digital password. In 1961, MIT computer science professor Fernando Corbato. So he's created the first password that was kind of to protect. It wasn't to protect, it was to solve issue with the time sharing machine. They had a huge machine, one of the first computers was really huge, and they need to, and the terminal was kind of time sharing, across multiple users and across multiple students. And that's the way, with the passwords, he solved this issue, how to share the time with, in between developers, in between students. Okay, let's continue. By the way, the same guy a few years later, okay, he admits that the password becomes a nightmare. A few decades later, but yeah, he actually admits that the passwords there become a nightmare. In 1962, a year later, Alan Scher, one of his students, okay, he got bored of this time and of this time limitation, okay, and made a punch card. I don't know if you. Unfortunately, I can't see faces. I don't know how our audience is young or like me. But yeah, there was punch cards to communicate with the computer in a few decades ago. So yeah, so he made a punch card that would print all the passwords on the computer, and when the computer limit was full, he actually used these passwords to log in on behalf of others, and also shared these passwords with his friends. Possibly, Alan Scher was the first computer troll of the time. Alan used passwords to hack into the teachers' accounts and leave messages just to make fun of them. Okay, this is like the first hacker or first IT troll or whatever, but this is the guy. 1970s, Unix hash functions, something that became very popular, of course, encryption, one-way encryption, and ability to actually store and save data in secure way, to log the access for the people, and everyone was happy. Really, everyone was pretty. In that times, everyone was like pretty sure that encrypted function, it's the hash function, it's something that that make our data safe and not accessible for any other. Until the human factor came into the picture. Okay. Yeah, the biggest problems with the passwords, it's not the way we storing them. It's not the way we sending the passwords from the client to the backend. It's not the way, I don't know, how they encrypt it on the server side in the databases, where we store them and how we store them. It's nothing about it. Okay. The main issue with the passwords is a human factor and the people who create the password. This is the main issue with the passwords. Okay, this is the weak point. Let's go over some statistics. It's not the full statistics, but summary. 200 services. That's amount of services in average for each one of us. Okay, the people who live in the Western world, who have access to the internet, the average amount of accounts, logins, and whatever that we have on our name, on our email, on our identity, it's about 200. Okay, you can say, no, it's impossible. I have only Gmail and Netflix. No, you have, because think about it, that each and every application that you have in your mobile device, or you ever had, okay, requested to log in. You probably use the Apple login or the Google login, or Facebook login, but it's still, you have your account in some service. Okay. I'm not talking about the services, the one-time usage services to buy something specific on specific website, the trial services where you just create the account for the 2 weeks and then you forgot about this account forever, etc., etc. Especially we as developers, as engineers, we have probably 200 only the trial accounts all over the world, all over the internet. Okay. When we're trying some different services and we don't like it, or it's too expensive and we don't use it and we forgot about that's it. Almost 2/3 of people use the same password across multiple accounts. Now think about it, we have 200 accounts and 2/3 of us actually using the same password on multiple accounts. Okay, so it's enough to get one password from one website to hack the database or whatever, or to sniff or whatever it is, and can access in multiple other accounts. About 50% of users will change only one character when we are forced to update our password. It's a pretty rare case for regular consumer, but for developers, when we're working in the companies, especially in the enterprise companies, we enforce to update our password every 3 months, every half year. Unfortunately, again, I'm not able to ask you, audience, and see your answer, raise your hands who changing only one character each time when you need to update the password. Okay, I believe nobody will raise hands, but a lot actually does. At least 49% have shared their password with someone else. Also, you might think that no, I will never share my password with anyone, but think about the mother or grandma or grandpa who sending the password to his, to son, grandson to help with something, to fix something in the configuration of the account in the Netflix, or to configure it or whatever. This is the sharing of the password. And when you share the password, basically, it's it's not that you tell them it's straight. Usually, you send it via the email, you send it by, I don't know, by SMS or something like this. But sharing is on the paper, and all this leads to more than 80% breaches are related to stolen, weak, or reused passwords. Okay, this is the actually what all these issues, that's what we have in the end of the day. And 24 billion passwords was exposed by hackers in 2022, and more than 550 million starting from 2017. So this is the issues with the passwords. I hope it's clear and understandable that the main problem with the passwords, it's not the secure way how we send the password from a client to server and from API service into the database, and how database encrypted, and if it's HTTP or HTTPS or whatever it is. Okay, it's not the way. It's absolutely not the issue. Okay, the main issue is actually the fact that it's very easy to guess your password. Okay, to find what is your password. I believe everyone knows this, that the most famous password in the world currently, it's 123567. Yes, and the second one is password. This is like the most used passwords in the world. Yeah, so this is different. This is like, there's a lot of different issues around the passwords, but the main problem is still and always will be human, the one who actually creates the password for himself. So Solution, single sign-on. Single sign-on, the way do it yourself. Okay, one of the methods that I use for password management is actually quite straightforward. Okay, I memorize only one complex password for my primary email account. Okay, this is my password for my Gmail. Okay, what you can see right now on the screen. It's pretty complicated. It's very difficult to memorize. Don't try to use it. No, it's fake password. But yeah, I'm using it, and each time when I'm trying to log in into the service, if I don't remember the password, I just use the forgot password, and then I get the. And each time when I try to log in, I'm using the reset password, and basically it will generate a new session for me each time. Now, this approach is actually, it's time-consuming, and but it offers an effective layer of security. The only drawbacks of this plan is that the service that I'm trying to log in might consider that this kind of activity, suspicious, and they might block my account. If I'm using this service and I'm doing it on a daily basis, probably they will block my account sooner or later. But if it's, let's say, if it's a service that I'm using often, I probably will remember the password. And if it's a service that I'm using not so often, so that's okay to use this single sign-on, do it yourself. But again, it's not. We don't want, we want something more convenient, some better to use, less time consuming. Magic links. The another solution is actually to use the magic links. Tumblr was, I don't remember the service is still alive or not, but they was the first major platform to implement this feature. Upon request, a unique link is sent to your email, okay? And simply by clicking on this link, will grant you an access to your account. And this eliminating the needs of the passwords altogether. Okay, so you don't need to remember create password, remember password, or anything like this. You have the link that allows you to log in. I really like this solution. A single sign-on, or let's say social single sign-on, an advanced solution to streamline user experience is the concept of a single point of login. Okay, for example, Google. One login grants access to multiple services: email, file storage, office programs, calendar, whatever it is, documents, everything, okay? And additionally, Google has broadened the scope, allowing users to employ this account into the other websites too, okay? That's when you're trying to log in with the other. Let's see. When we want to log into the Medium, for example, it will immediately ask, are you, this is your, it's not the Medium ask, it's the snippet code from the Google, asks if I want to continue as Daniel or not, or Facebook, or GitHub, for example, on the Stack Overflow, whatever. So this is the idea. Now, here's the magic. The data exchange happens automatically, okay? And users simplify grant permissions, and voila. So this process significantly reduces the time compared to setting up a new profile on every platform, okay? And behind the scene, Google communicates with the websites using the Auth2 protocol. It's not just about the identifying the user, okay, but it's also about the defining the user's permissions and rights, whatever he can do, he cannot do. Okay, this is the whole idea behind it. Let's just look how these things work. So let's assume that our goal is to access the medium.com, okay, the website, the platform, where I'm publishing my articles. Again, find me medium.com, Daniel Ostrovsky or Dan.81, and you can, I usually will set a day when this article should go public. Okay, why? Because, it's not this kind of SEO optimization, etc., that says that don't do it on the weekend days, do it in the beginning of the week, etc., let's get more reads. Never help, I don't have a lot of reads on my Medium, so again, find me on Medium. But yeah, so and basically what happened when I'm defining when articles should go, I can Medium can populate this date and this time on my Google Calendar. Okay, of course, if I will allow to Medium to do so and Google to do so and give the rights and etc., we'll do all this magic. So it will configure all this magic. It will work. Okay, so that's one of the things, the added value in the single sign-on when it's done through the services like Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, or GitHub. Another solution is multi-factor authentication, or most famous like a two-factor authentication. Over 40% of users have already adopted two-factor authentication. Two-factor authentication based on the simple premise. Just knowing the password or remembering the password, memorizing the password is not enough to log in. Okay, we also need something as secondary, some kind of prearranged item, like an email address or mobile phone or security USB key, or like something additional to the first issue. And another one that I don't like is that I need actually to handle it. Okay, I can lose it. I'm definitely going to lose it, but for sure. But again, the cool things about these keys is that unlike, for example, SIM cards, okay, they can be cloned and they can be lured out of phishing attempts. And also, unlike the email boxes, so they kind of secure and safe, unless you can lose them and then you're stuck, outside of your accounts, and you need to run the very complicated flow to get your access back. Any other solutions? Let's see. biometrical factor. Now, imagine that carrying an unforgettable key everywhere you go. Okay, so for example, that you have a key that you're not able to use it, okay, like a USB security key, or your phone that can be stolen, a password that you can forget, or you can define some simple password, or this password can be guessed by hackers, by biohackers, etc. So something that can be always with you. It will be unique only for you, and it will be your second or even first authorization factor, or main authorization factor, only the authorization factor. And as you can mention, we already have it. Okay, we have fingerprints. Okay, fingerprint scans. It's very popular now on the smartphones and laptops. The facial recognition, okay, is used in newer mobile devices and some security system, and even laptops and computers also using it. Voice recognition, okay, it's become very popular with the voice assistant, especially when voice assistant is not just kind of the Amazon or Google voice assistant, but something more complicated, and need to actually to authorize you over the voice. And behavioral biometrics. Okay, this is very interesting. It's actually analyzing patterns like keystrokes or mouse movements. It's also the way to understand and to actually recognize you. Okay, another option. So just close it. Sorry. Okay. Another options in the behavioral or biometrics or something in between is the way how you walk. Okay, your gestures, how you move, how you stand, and all this is also very unique for each and every one and used as authorization factor. I never heard about using it as authorization factor, but about the recognition factor is definitely used already in airports and many other public places where you have this. If there's airports. I don't remember this. If I'm not mistaken, it's in London. When you get in, you need to go through the passport control. If you're flying, like I'm flying from Israel, so it's outside of. Now it's England. London's always outside of Europe. So when you come in, you need to go through the passport control, right? They're taking the picture of the passport. When you're going out, there's no passport control. Okay, there's a lot of cameras that they can recognize you from when you get in and to recognize you when you're moving out. So here's a question: why jungle the countless passwords? When we have built-in passwords, okay, that nobody can duplicate or steal. It's always with us. And need to say, I don't very much like the Microsoft, but Microsoft recognized this potential and took actually significant strides forward. In September 2021, they introduced an option allowing Windows users to forgo traditional passwords. And the adoption was notable. Okay, the 85 million users opted for this password-free method. So we can say that this message, is loud and clear. People don't want to use passwords anymore. Okay, they don't like. Some summary and some takeaways. In the online world, we heavily relied on passwords for security. But let's face it, they have their shortcomings, and often the main weakness is us, the users. Okay, like this is said, human factor, the people who created the password. This is the main weakness of the passwords. Fortunately, there are upgrades like two-factor authentication and biometric authentication. They're stepping in, and this don't just make our digital lives more secure, they also simplify a lot of things for us. Password vulnerabilities, sorry, my English, as you can mention, it's not my main language. So traditional passwords remain a top target for cyber attacks. including brute force, credentials stuffing, and phishing. Two-factor authentication, 2FA. It's enhanced security by introducing a second verification step. This can be code from a text message, an application, or a hardware token, or something else, SMS message. Biometric authentication. The push towards using our inherent biological traits like fingerprints or facial patterns offers a convenient and secure method. And future of authentication. There is a clear trend towards simpler, more secure authentication methods. As the technology continues to evolve, we will likely see even more innovations that further reduce our dependence on passwords. Before we move into the question, I don't know if we will have questions or not, but I want to show you something interesting. I hope it will be interesting. Okay, so instead of using the password, I really like to be, able to say, when I do register, well, it's not working. Give me just a second. Should work. Well, it's not working. Now, my target is to get to the 1,000 followers. There is left only about 700. Okay, so we can do it today, right? We can just, just follow me. And I have a question to everyone. If I need to change the logo from Twitter to the X, so just write me if it's X or Twitter, whatever you think. And if you have any questions, any concerns, you want to ask something more, dive deep into, technically questions about the passwordless, how to implement and how it actually works and what future for this. So feel free to contact me in any way you can find me. It's pretty easy. Host, organizers, is that there's questions or just thank you slide and that's it? Thank you.